it's officially been 1 year since I quit my corporate job in order to stay home with my kids and better manage our household. The anniversary of this decision kind of snuck up on me, and I was so surprised at how quickly it felt like that year had come and gone. Although I traded my desk and weekly team meetings for our home and for full days of toddler conversations, one thing that remains true is that homemaking is still very much a job. The role of a homemaker is so much more than simply housekeeping. It's the responsibility of cultivating the entire environment of our homes and those who live in them. It's caring for our spouses and children, it's meal planning, grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning, organizing, managing the calendar, managing the laundry, remembering the birthdays, scheduling the appointments. Homemakers are the engine behind the train of the household. It's no surprise to me that C.S. Lewis referenced homemaking as the ultimate career, and that all other careers exist for one purpose only: to support the ultimate career. A career is described as an occupation undertaken for a significant period of a person's life and with opportunities for progress. But that key word, progress, is one that I've been thinking about a lot lately. If homemaking is my primary career in this season of life, what does it look like to have opportunities for progress? Sure, you can add more kids to the household or move to a larger property, but a lot of the times, those things feel like they cause regression to me as a homemaker, and I start to feel like all of the plates that I'm balancing are dropping. But what if we treated our roles as homemakers as seriously as roles in corporate jobs? If we did actually ask our family members for a performance review, what would they say? If we did actually look for those opportunities to progress, how could we better steward our homes, make them run more efficiently, or simply better love those who live inside them? This brings me to my new personal challenge, a goal to level up as a homemaker by making small, incremental changes that I really do think will positively impact our family over time. My journey to leveling up as a homemaker is going to be a new series on my YouTube channel as I document the changes I'm making and invite you in on the process. My hope is that as a community of women, we can do this all together so that whatever season of homemaking or motherhood we find ourselves in, we can all make incremental changes together that benefit all of our families. The first way I'm leveling up as a homemaker is by being more intentional about batching tasks. Now that we have 3 kids and I'm also juggling a few hours of work from home and the management of our household, I'm more time pressed than ever. One of the ways that I'm trying to grow my capacity to handle all that's on my plate is by doing away with the thought that every task needs to have its own dedicated time for completion and finding the opportunities to get things done while I'm already doing something else in that space. This can be as simple as doing a quick cleanup in our bathroom after I finish getting ready in the morning, wiping down the counters in between deeper cleans. It can also look like leaving a cleaning wand in our shower full of solution that I can use to give it a quick scrub down when I may not have the time to do a full shower clean. It may even be wiping down all of the counters in the kitchen while I wait for a pot to boil. I'm just starting to get more creative about how to get things done and when to get things done. And really all that's needed to do this is a perspective of how can I leave this space better than I found it. The next way I'm leveling up as a homemaker is by investing in fewer quality pieces for our home. My husband and I just celebrated 6 years of marriage, and since then we've had a lot of things in our home, whether furniture, kitchen appliances, or linens, simply fall apart because we opted for appearance and low cost as opposed to quality. Bit by bit, we've been upgrading the things in our home that need upgrading, and we found our new favorite place to get high quality pieces that won't break the bank: Italic. Italic believes that luxury should be defined by the quality of the product, not by a logo or a price tag, and they carry products made by the same manufacturers for top luxury brands but without the crazy markups. Our most recent order was for their incredibly popular ultra plush Australian cotton towels. They're 100% cotton and have an 800 GSM weight, which means they're denser and more absorbent than basically any towel on the market. Looking at the towels we had versus our new set from Italic, there's simply no comparison. These new Italic towels are resort grade, and they make something as simple as your everyday shower feel like a hotel spa experience. I love that Italic allows us to slowly upgrade our home to feel more luxurious without the luxury brand price. And they also have a special offer for viewers of my channels. So head to the link in my description box to browse their collection and save on your first order. Thank you so much to Italic for working with me on today's video. The third way I'm leveling up as a homemaker is by taking on more challenging recipes and stepping out of my comfort zone in the kitchen. I've always had a list of different meals or baked goods I've wanted to try my hand at, like perfecting larger cuts of meat, making finicky things like croissants, and of course, sourdough. And sourdough has been my most recent adventure, and I'm starting to get more comfortable with the process, although I'm still only a couple of weeks into the journey. Since I got started, I've been making about 2 loaves per week to find the right cook times, the right proofing times, and just get more familiar with the process overall. I've also had the best time making recipes with discard, which is a whole other world I've been introduced to. Basically everything sourdough, even all of the discard recipes are just so much better than non-sourdough recipes. I don't know what it is, but they just taste so good. And so sourdough chocolate chip cookies have been on a weekly rotation in our home as well, and everyone in my family is loving that. One of my favorite things so far about starting to make sourdough is that my 3-year-old daughter and I have been very much doing it together. She made the starter with me from scratch, and it kind of felt like a little at-home science project that we got to do together and get excited about together. And since then, she has been by my side in the kitchen, helping me with almost all of the stretch and folds, flouring the loaves, prepping them for the oven each time. And honestly, if nothing else, I am so glad that my decision to finally jump into making sourdough and to try new things in the kitchen has made it second nature for one of my children. Although I'm sure I will ebb and flow between seasons of making it often and seasons of the starter just sitting in the back of the fridge, my hope is that one day when my daughter is my age, she will be light years ahead of where I am today and feel like there's nothing in the kitchen that she's not confident enough to make. Next up on my list is establishing a cleaning routine that works for us in the current season we're in. Another mistake I've made as a homemaker is trying to map the same systems and processes I've created for myself in past seasons of life on to the current seasons that I find myself in, and that honestly usually just leads to frustration. Now that we're a family of 5, our home certainly feels lived in, and that in and of itself is a gift and an answered prayer, but it does also mean that I spend a good portion of my everyday cleaning our home. I used to be able to assign myself certain tasks for cleaning for certain days of the week, like vacuuming on Mondays, wiping surfaces on Wednesdays, and so on and so forth. But I find that now if I wait a full week to accomplish certain things, our house feels messy pretty quickly. I have just accepted in this season that certain cleaning chores happen daily or every other day in our home, and a little bit actually does go a long way. So while it may look like daily routines and then certain things being on weekly routines and some things being on monthly routines, for the most part, the new cleaning routine is certain things that happen every single day. So every day I do stay on top of things like vacuuming, mopping when necessary with our wet vac, which is a game changer, cleaning our kitchen, which is very well used, tidying up the bedrooms, the playroom, the living room, wiping surfaces, and doing 1 load of laundry per day, which is just what works for us right now. What I can do when it comes to the weekly cleaning routines is our ensuite and our guest bathrooms with some spot cleans kind of along the way and in between. And then since having our 3rd baby, I have actually found it so much harder to deep clean. So things like the oven and really thorough scrubs of things like our ensuite shower, because my baby does spend a good chunk of time in the baby carrier. So I've also decided to bring in some cleaning help for the time being once per month to support me in some of those deeper cleans in those areas that I just have much less capacity to manage on my own right now. It's 1 day a month that I get to take a little bit of a break from some of the daily cleaning, and although we won't keep that up forever, it has been lovely to have for now while we do navigate life with a baby that loves to be held. And speaking of baby number 3, the next way I'm trying to level up as a homemaker is by making our home feel and look more like the people in it. When I first got married, I really struggled and had to let go of the reality that my house can't look like I'm the only one that lives there. And that may sound silly, but I had my own opinions on what the decor and the furniture should look like, and I wasn't really open to accepting suggestions. And that ended up being surprisingly a big tension point in that first year of marriage. But since then, I've grown to understand and really value the preferences of each person in my family and just the way that they want our home to look and feel. And that is part of why I wanted to do a full bedroom makeover for our little girls, creating a space that felt magical and whimsical for them to grow up in, instead of my kind of usual white/clean look that I have gone for in the past. So wallpapering their whole room felt like a risk, and it was a little bit terrifying for me, but we did just decide to go for it. And I love how it all turned out. We used wallpaper from Loomwell, so it is peel and stick, and it can be removed with zero damage. And I went with their petunia print in the shade golden, and it adds so much beautiful character and warmth to their room. My oldest daughter is full on obsessed with all things princesses right now, so we took it to the next level by adding in the beautiful princess canopy to her bed, a space for her to hang her growing collection of ball gowns, and I also wanted to add in that little swan theme that I feel like just makes everything feel a little bit more regal. I'm so happy with how their room turned out. It is officially one of my favorite spaces in our home, and that's really because it finally feels like my daughter's personality is reflected in the space. So I cannot wait to make more of these kinds of changes throughout the rest of our home as well. Last but not least, the final and perhaps the most important way I am leveling up as a homemaker is by being more intentional in my prayers for each member of my family. Back when I was a newlywed, I was so committed to praying over my husband. I had a list of things that I intentionally prayed over often, like his spiritual growth, his emotional well-being, his success in the workplace. And although I still do pray for my husband, having 3 kids in 3 years has definitely set me off course in my intentionality in this area. And I have also added 3 more people to my family that equally need me to be diligently praying over their lives. As moms, we can't undervalue the impact and the influence that we have in the lives of our husbands and children when we commit to praying for them. There is so much power in prayer, and I have experienced this firsthand in my own life countless times. I want to be a prayer warrior for my family, and in times of stress, worry, or fear, I want prayer to be my first response, not my last resort. Thinking about when our kids are grown up and out of our house, I don't want to look back at this season of life and say that I spent so much time on the physical elements of our home, like the cleaning, the cooking, the day-to-day management, that I forgot to tend to the spiritual elements of our home. Our prayers change things beyond what we can control, and being the one responsible for the atmosphere of my home is not something that I want to do apart from the Holy Spirit. So I am committing to being more intentional again. I'm committed to writing out the names of my children and claiming God's promises for their lives, His provision, His protection, and His peace as they grow. I'm committed to spending more time thanking God for my husband and praying for Jesus to work in his heart than being frustrated about the little things. As far as I'm concerned, praying for our family must top the list of our homemaking priorities, and it is time that I put it back up at the top again. Something that I try to teach my children often is that we need to steward what God has given us well. And put more simply, in the way that I would explain that to them, we take care of what we care about. As homemakers, I think it can be easy for us to coast by on what has worked in the past, or just by doing things well enough, because there are no performance reviews in this vocation. For most of us, there is no one that's checking in to see if we've hit our goals, and we can operate with a, well, this is good enough mentality for years if we want to, because we're not going to get fired. But I know for myself and for a lot of you guys watching that we care about this role that God has given us. Right now, I know that I am walking in an answered prayer that I brought to God for years to be fortunate enough to stay home and to take care of my family. And so I am ready to level up as a homemaker, and I invite you to join me. As you've been watching this video, I would love to know what ideas have been rolling around in your head, if there's any areas of your homemaking that you've been really wanting to improve on but haven't made the time for, whether that is cooking or cleaning or management of time or budgeting or organizing. And as the fall approaches, I would love to make this a challenge for all of us to take on together as a community. So comment below with the idea that you are planning to grow in, and I can't wait to get more ideas from you guys. So if you want to stay tuned for more of this journey, I would love for you to stick around by subscribing to my channel. You will be notified when the next episode pops up, but also when my other videos are uploaded as well. So thank you guys so much for watching and for being here. And of course, until my next video, I love you guys, I'm praying for you guys, and I will see you soon.